Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. See, this right here is why Tucker Carlson became public enemy number one. It's mostly because he was one of them. You know, Tucker's alluded to this many times. I guess you could say he used to be naive in his beliefs of the media.
I've spent my whole life in the media. My dad was in the media. Like, that is a big part of the revelation that's changed my life, is the media are part of the control apparatus. Like, there's no... Yeah, I know, because you're younger and smarter and you're like, yeah. But what if you're me and you spent your whole life in that world, and to look around and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow. Not only are they part of the problem, but I spent most of my life being part of the problem, defending the Iraq war. Like, I actually did that. Can you imagine if you did that? For too long, I participated in the culture where I was like, anyone who thinks outside these pre-prescribed lanes is crazy, is a conspiracy theorist. And I just really regret that. I'm ashamed that I did that. And partly it was age, partly it was the world that I grew up. I just didn't see it at all. And I'm ashamed. Their job is not to inform you. They are working for the small group of people who actually run the world. They're their servants. They're their Praetorian Guard. And we should treat them with maximum contempt because they have earned it.
On multiple occasions, Tucker Carlson has revealed that his eyes have been opened. He is no longer the same mainstream media journalist that he once was, that he's had a personal evolution of sorts. And that right there is why they absolutely freaking hate the guy. They cannot stand him because he knows how the cookie is made. He's a traitor in their view. He was part of the crew. He even participated in spreading mainstream media lies. But then one day, something magical happened. He woke up and he started to realize the company that he was keeping. And of course, that makes Tucker Carlson a very, very dangerous man. His eyes have been opened. He's a whistleblower at this point, I guess you could even say. He's criticizing the mainstream media openly with insider information. He knows how the cookie is made. He knows exactly what these people are up to from a very unique perspective. And boy, is he utilizing that perspective for good. Let me just leave it at that. I got the most viral clip on Twitter to show you guys. Tucker Carlson versus the Australian fake news press. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so this clip's going to be a little bit longer than what we usually post, and that's mostly because of the quality of the content. Trust me, you guys don't want to watch a diluted, cut-down version of this video. You want to watch pretty much the whole thing. Maybe not the whole 6 minutes, but I'm not going to cut out too much. Just take a look at this.
So much for your address today. So you talked a little bit about immigration, and in the past you've talked about how white Australians, Americans, Europeans are being replaced by non-white immigrants in what is often referred to as the Great Replacement Theory. This is the same...
Have I said that whites are being replaced?
Well...
I don't think I said that.
Well, it's been mentioned on your show 4,000 times. And
really, when did I say that?
On your show.
I said whites are being replaced?
You have said that before.
Really?
Yeah.
I would challenge you to cite that, because I'm pretty sure I haven't said that. I said native-born Americans are being replaced, including blacks.
Native-born Americans.
Native-born Americans.
And
Americans who, like black Americans, African Americans have been in the United States for, in many cases, their families over 400 years. And their concerns are every bit as real and valid and alive to me as the concerns of white people whose families have been there 400 years. So I've never said that whites are being replaced. Not one time. And you can't cite it.
Untrue.
So we just met, but when our relationship starts with a lie, it makes it tough to be friends. So
you've been lying
let's
about
pull
my
that back. I'm happy to explain what I do think.
So.
Well, you actually can't say it because I didn't say it, and I don't believe it. And I'm telling you that to your face, so why don't you just accept me at face value? My concern is that the people who are born in the country are the main responsibility of its leaders. And as noted earlier, when those leaders shift their concern from the people whose responsibility it is to take care of to people around the world, to put their priorities above that of their own citizens, that's immoral. And they are being replaced in my country, people who were born in the United States. And the birth rate tells the whole story. They're not at replacement rate. And so the US population is growing because we're importing people from other countries. And my view is that happy people have children, and a functioning economy allows them to do that. And we don't have that. And so you need to fix the economy and fix the culture and make it so that people who want to have kids can. You don't just go for the quick sugar fix of importing new people. Like, that's my position. And if you think that's racist, that's your problem.
I never called you a racist.
But of course you are suggesting, and I must say, one of the reasons people don't like people like you in the media is that you never say exactly what you mean. Your slurs are all by implication, and you're about to tell me the Great Replacement Theory is racist or anti-Semitic, whatever. I've said what I've said to you right now like 100 times in public. I hope to, if I live long enough, say it 100 more times. I think it's completely honest and real, not racist or scary. It's factually true. It's not a theory, it's a fact. And the whole point of your question was to be like, you're a scary racist.
Well, I haven't.
And
actually
my
finished
response is, no,
question.
I'm not. Okay, well, how about no more lying in your questions, and then I'll answer it.
Okay. Well, this is the same theory, or as you say, idea, that has inspired the New York Buffalo shooting, where 11 black Americans were killed.
On.
2
You know what
white
I mean?
Americans were killed.
Like,
It's also
okay,
inspired.
it's not. First of all,
It's inspired one of the worst Australian guns
how do
of
they
all
get
time
people
to
this
shoot
stupid in the media? I guess it doesn't pay well. Look, I'm sorry. I've lived among people like you for too long, and I don't mean to call you stupid. Maybe you're just pretending to be, but I'm totally against violence. I'm totally against the war in Ukraine, for example, which doubtless you support. And like all dutiful liberals, support more carnage. I don't. I hate mass shootings, actually. Nothing I said, what does it mean to inspire something? My views are not bigoted against any group. They're honest. They're factual. That's not hate. That's reality. And my views derive from my deep concern for Americans, actually. Americans aren't having kids because they can't afford to. And nobody in charge cares. And so that's my position. That doesn't inspire mass shootings. How dare you try to tie me to some lunatic who murdered people? How dare you, actually? And in fact, I mean, do you know what I mean? I'd be like, Hitler wore those shoes. A lot of people are saying that you're like Hitler. Can you explain those shoes? Hitler wore exactly the same shoes. And you're like, I've got nothing to do with Hitler. Well, that's how I feel about your absurd, disingenuous question.
Right, so therefore you support gun control?
What? I thought it couldn't get dumber, but it did. No, I don't support disarming law-abiding people so they can't defend themselves. So the government has a monopoly on violence? I don't think so. First of all, in my country, that's illegal, as you know. But moreover, it should be illegal in every country. A sovereign person has the right to defend himself and his family. Period.
Well, so you don't think you harbor any kind of responsibility for these hate crimes?
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be charitable. I was like, maybe you're just pretending to be dumb. Now I don't think it's an act. I'm like, your media's got to be better than ours. It can't just be a bunch of castrated robots reading questions from the boss. And then it turns out it's exactly the same, maybe even a tiny bit dumber.
There's only one way to appropriately describe what just happened on screen. That fake news journalist got absolutely freaking dumpstered. Yet again, another prime example of malicious, slanderous journalistic malpractice. These leading questions are unbelievable. To be honest, it's even hard to call it a question. These are less questions and more just implications. I guess you could call them assertions, but thankfully enough, Tucker Carlson's seen it before. He's worked with these kinds of journalistic predators for a very long time. And boy, was he ready. I've never seen a fake news journalist so embarrassed in my life. Frankly, I think this might be one of the biggest journalist takedowns in the history of the internet. Tucker Carlson deserves all the credit, but at the same time also, so does the journalist herself, because instead of trying to implement a new strategy, she went for the same old failed fake news strategy of attempting to dishonestly label your opponent a racist and then imply, of course, that their rhetoric is leading to violence. Some people fall for this stuff. The Blue Anon crew definitely watched this clip and said, yeah, get him. He's causing all kinds of racial violence. But they're increasingly becoming a minority here. Nowadays, we've been so exposed to this dishonest crap that I think the majority see right through it. I think most people see this kind of thing and it makes Tucker Carlson look good. And it obviously makes these journalists look horrible. Not only because of the slander and the dishonesty, but also the double standard. These types of questions, or frankly statements, are only ever lobbed against conservative thought leaders that the left-wing power apparatus despises. Apparently Tucker Carlson's rhetoric on preserving American culture, not white American culture, but just American culture, apparently that's now responsible for all hate crimes perpetrated across the globe. Yeah, apparently the mosque attack in Australia is somehow Tucker Carlson's fault. How utterly ridiculous. And again, these kinds of tactics are only ever used against right-wingers. Everybody can see that. Left-wingers will go on and say there's been a fascistic overtake of the Supreme Court. Right-wing Nazi extremists are now on the bench. They'll say stuff like that, and then somebody will threaten Brett Kavanaugh or threaten Justice Clarence Thomas, or somebody will get arrested for some sort of plot, a violent plot, of course. But you never hear anything from these mainstream media hacks suggesting that left-wing rhetoric is leading to violent actions. No, that's reserved for conservatives who believe in borders. How ridiculous. I've been listening to Tucker Carlson forever. I think I've probably caught all of his segments relating to the issue of immigration. Without even having to look into it, I'll tell you unequivocally, 100%, Tucker Carlson never said that white America is under threat. He's always referred to natural-born citizens. But of course, the media will lie, they'll manipulate his words, they'll promote the narrative that he's an evil white supremacist that everybody should stay away from. But it's obviously a lie. I think nowadays people can see it, and of course leftoids might want to pick their targets a little bit better. Something tells me these cheap tactics just aren't really gonna work on a guy like Tucker Carlson. Anyways, not much else to say. I think the clip pretty much spoke for itself. This is the current state of mainstream media. I guess not much has changed. They still haven't learned their lesson. That's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.